Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were awesome games, so much so that I wanted to attempt my first Pokemon Nuzlocke, and not only any Nuzlocke, but a hardcore Nuzlocke challenge. We're gonna find out how that run went today. Welcome back, friends, and a special welcome to all the new friends out there. I'm YoBGS, and yeah, I've mentioned this before, even in some of the videos I did about Jaiden Animations, that I've always wanted to do a Pokemon Nuzlocke, but I discovered this idea of the hardcore Pokemon Nuzlocke, and I was like, look, if I'm ever gonna do a game, it's gotta be a hardcore Nuzlocke. Now, the way Nuzlockes work, you can only catch the first Pokemon in an area. If a Pokemon faints, it's done. You have to put it in a special box, let it go forever. If all your Pokemon faint, then the run is over, and it's pretty tricky. The hardcore Nuzlocke also adds in you can't use items during battle, you can't overlevel the next gym leader's Pokemon, and you have to play in set mode. And what that means is when you knock out an opposing trainer's Pokemon and they throw another one out, you don't get the option to switch it up. It makes things just a little bit more difficult. I am playing with something called a dupes clause though, which means that when I encounter a Pokemon that I already have, as long as I run away from it, I can re-roll that and try and encounter a different Pokemon. Now, that being said, let's get into the run, friends. It starts like they all do. I named the rival Loki after my cat that always wants to steal my food. Kind of has the same hair. I decided to go with a Chimchar, named it Bernard. Infernape is the best Pokemon starter I've heard in this generation for noobs. I'm a noob. That makes sense. That meant that I wasn't going to be able to get an encounter in Valor Lakefront since that's where I met Bernard the Chimchar. Once I got some Pokeballs, I farmed an encounter on Route 201. It's a Starly. Catch it right away. Name it Sky Davis, which is a thing from the old Nickelodeon show Doug. In Doug, they didn't have Air Jordan. It was Sky Davis. Dawn shows us how to catch Pokemon, which I'd obviously already done before. I grabbed my second encounter right after. I was hoping for a Shinx. I was hoping for a Bidoof. I got a Kricketot. I caught it because with the dupes clause thing, that means that later on, if I run into a Kricketot or a Kricketune, I don't have to catch that one. I can run away and hopefully get something good. I got the old rod, immediately beeline it to Route 218 to fish up a Magikarp, since no matter how you slice it, Gyarados, god tier Pokemon. And since we're slicing it anyway, I gave it the nickname Sushi-ina. I don't know why, Mighty Ina was on my mind, so was Sushi, and here we are. North of Jubilife, I figured the more encounters the merrier, so I end up running in the grass. Got a Bidoof, it's versatile, gets the water type, and frankly, it's another body, right, for the early game, and I figure the more bodies I have, the better off I'm gonna be. Dorfman joins the team. After I made short work of Loki in the first, rival battle, the quest sort of began for real. Route 203, Shoxy the Shinx comes into the picture, and this is looking a lot like my first team in a casual playthrough, right? You got Bidoof, you got Shinx, you have a Kricketot that nobody wants, and now the big question when it comes to a Nuzlocke is, does Shinx have Rivalry or Intimidate? Intimidate is one of the best natures you can have. It lowers attack every time you come in. There's some really cool combos you can get into with that, so of course, mine had Rivalry. Maybe Cynthia's Garchomp will be female, and that'll make all the difference a little bit later on. I caught a Geodude at the Orberg gate, named it Cloggin. Don't really know why. At this point, I thought Golem would be a solid long-term plan, although I was hoping that it had Sturdy. Again, I felt like I got gypped because it had Rock Head, but knowing what I know now after the run, that probably would have been really good. I just didn't see it at the time. I'd actually been hoping for a Zubat, since Crobat's one of my favorite Pokemon and is also really good for a Nuzlocke. I figured Crobat and Gyarados, I'd be doing pretty good. So I remembered in Route 207, which is just north of Orberg, you can get a Pokemon before you beat Roark. So I ran in the grass, I caught Belgosi, and now I want to take a second before each gym just to kind of talk about what my plan was going into them. Like, Roark was pretty simple. Pokemon weak to fighting moves, and in Shining Pearl, Bernard, who is now going to be an Monferno going into this, has a move called Power Up Punch. Boosts your attack every time you use it, so you just punch through the gym. That was what I did. Badge in hand, headed north through Eterna Forest, caught a Wurmple, evolved it into a Beautifly, but I kind of liked the team I had, so I didn't really find a way to slot Beautifly into the works. Arriving at Valley Windworks, I ran into the first real run gate of a Nuzlocke, which is Commander Mars and the Purugly. Now, as a sidebar, Valley Windworks is one of the places in this run that I just never got an encounter. My plan was to come back on a Friday, catch Drifloon, and then like level it up into Drifblim, since I know that's another good Pokemon, but I went out of town that day, and I didn't feel like grinding it up 45 levels when next Friday rolled around, so I just sort of never did anything there. But anyway, Commander Mars, Purugly. It is a damn truck, even if it's one level lower in this version than in Platinum. My plan was the same as it was for Roark. I was just gonna power up punch my way through. I actually gave Bernard a Quick Claw. I thought maybe I could just get the first hit and take it down straight away, but you're gonna notice there's a little bit of a pattern when it comes to some of my best plans. So the Zubat that Commander Mars has confused Bernard. So then I switched to Sky Davis. That seemed pretty fine. I wanted to double team, maybe cause like a miss or something, but got faked out. And then I didn't like where Sky Davis's health was, so swapped out of that. Mach Punch didn't do much damage, so I switched to Cloggin to just like try and tank, you know? The AI actually helped me out here. It kept using Growl because every turn I would Rock Smash and lower its defense, so the AI would growl to try and keep up. That actually made it a pretty easy fight. Then I ran into a Shellos on Route 205, and I did what I thought was like my first actual smart play of the game. I switched to Dorfman and used Water Gun. Not actually to weaken it, but because Shellos has an ability, or it can, called Storm Drain, which basically if you use a water move on it, it absorbs the water move and raises its special attack. So I used Water Gun, and I figured, all right, if this is a good Shellos, I'll catch it. If it's not, I'll just throw the encounter for this run and hopefully catch a Shellos somewhere else down the line. But this was a good Shellos, so caught it, named it Tessie, added it to the crew. Zubat, though, almost died to a random trainer, which, by the way, would have been brutal because the thing I play with that allows me to re-roll if I get a duplicate Mon also means I can only catch one Zubat, Golbat, Crobat throughout the run. So that would have been it. But fortunately, I got a minute to breathe easy here because Gardenia is next. The plan here seemed pretty simple. I was going to power up punch on Cherubi a couple times to get the attack up and then flame wheel my way to victory. It actually worked despite getting paralyzed by Rose Raid. Everything went according to plan, and I was kind of feeling awesome about it. But then I ran into Commander Jupiter in the Galactic building, this Skuntank that can be a bit of a jerk. Now, I figured between Belgosi and Bernard, it should be easy enough to handle. By the way, Sushiina evolved at this point to a Gyarados, which helped, but that got poisoned in the fight. Bernard got poisoned in the fight. Fortunately, an Oranberry kept him alive. Did not know the Skuntank had Aftermath. Was a little bit worried about that because it hits for a quarter of your health, but fortunately, thanks to the berry, I was above that and good to go. Route 206, I got a Ponyta, named it Unrarity, wanted to avoid any conflict with any sort of weird fandoms. Spent entirely too long cycling to make sure I could get the earliest possible Crobat, which was one of two big friendship moments in the run. The other was to get a level 8 Blissey. I'm going to spare you the cycling montage. It's basically that. 20,000 steps of that. Although it was kind of funny because like I play in the evening where I live, and Happening only becomes chancy if you give it an Oval Stone and level it up during the day. So I had about 3 minutes to like speed run the Oval Stone. Otherwise, I would have just had to put the game down for the night because, again, I wanted to get the earliest Blissey possible. So at this point, I have Golem, I have Crobat, I have Gyarados, and I've got a problem. Not the rival. I was able to breeze by him. But I have an over-leveling problem. You see, one of the rules I mentioned earlier is that you can't over-level the next gym. Well, that means if I stroll into Maylene with a team of all level 30 Pokemon, one of them is going to level up too far, then I have to bench them for the Wake fight. And the Lucario that Maylene has, by the way, another one of the worst encounters in the game. Drain Punch heals for double because it has a big root. It can bulk up. It can make life just a disaster for you. And I don't know. I've never done one of these before. Okay, so I caught a Kadabra at one point. I named it Neoracle. It kind of lives in the box. I mean, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Do you care about Pokemon I catch if they don't make it into the run? Like, I'll show what my box was before the Elite Four so you can see maybe what I could have had and made life a lot easier for myself, but just for all the Pokemon that go straight into the box, I feel like I may not need to show those. Although, I did catch a Ghastly on Route 209, and I named it Afton because references. I put it into the party. I set Gyarados on the bench to not overlevel Gyarados. The Expert Belt Machoke made me think that Gyarados could get one shot, and yeah. So Afton was the first Galaxy Brain play I thought I had, by the way, because Meditite doesn't know any moves that can hit Ghastly. So I thought, I'll lead with Ghastly, I'll put Meditite to sleep, bring in Sky Davis to use Work Up until it can just one-shot everything in the gym. So the fight starts, and I put in Meditite. I thought the AI was too stupid to play around stuff like this. So Machoke comes in, but it fell asleep. I gambled on one more workup than I probably should have. Machoke goes down. Meditite went down in one hit. This looked like another gym I was going to steamroll, and again, I was getting super pumped up about it. So the big boy comes in. I figure it's going to outspeed me, but that's okay because it already has max health, so Drain Punch won't help it any. Drain Punch almost skilled Sky Davis, though. The powered-up wing attack that I'd been building up toward did, like, nothing. I figured at this point, like, I could try and go back into Afton, but then I didn't really have it out because anything else I switched to probably would have gotten killed right away and outsped. So I thought maybe Sky could survive on like the power of friendship, which is an actual thing in these Pokemon games, but Sky was killed. And to be fair, it kind of made sense because Sky only had 18 HP, so I thought that would cap the amount Lucario could regen, and I might have a chance to take it out. Belgolsi came in, dodged a Metal Claw, pulled a crit, survived, but not without the first casualty of the run. Gotta rip in 07s for Sky Davis. You will be, well, replaced. Fortunately, we had that Gyarados that was sitting in the box to put in. I snagged a Buizel on Route 213. I know that can be good on like rain-based teams, but that sounds like way too 9-head for me. I went into Wake's gym. The new look party, by the way, we got Shoxy, we got Jursnoy, the Blissey, we got Sushiina, Belgosi, Tessie, and Cloggin. I honestly didn't have much of a plan for Wake. I just kind of figured I could electrocute my way through. But Shoxy got hit a lot harder than I expected. I immediately threw the plan out the window. Tessie was pretty well equipped though, thanks to getting an advantage because they're water types and it had Storm Drain. And it also knew Recover, which kind of gave me a second to gather my thoughts. Sushiina knocked out Wake. Shoxy evolved into Luxray. Loki's team, meanwhile, is getting a little bit better, but apart from a scary grass knot from Prinplup that for some reason it just has is, he's honestly just kind of outclassed and a really nice way to farm experience. Headed back to Hardhome to battle Fantina. I'm noticing my plans at this point are getting a little more complex, so I feel like I'm learning more about the game as I go. Like Drifblim at this point has Aftermath and a couple other things that can cause some issues. I figured it would try and burn me on turn 1, so I led with Shoxy because I wasn't planning to use Shoxy at all in the fight. Drifblim went down after Volt Switch. That gave me a free swap into Gyarados that can just crunch everything. See, I figure you can never go wrong when the main plan is Gyarados. It got confused right away. Now, that's on me because this is the third of like 50 times that I should have had Person Berries on my Pokemon. I think it's Person Berries, the ones that help them recover from confusion. Gengar poisoned me with a Sludge Bomb, but Waterfall was good enough to take it out. Miss Magus used Phantom Force, which was really kind of cool because I got a free switch into Blissey. And that being said, I really screwed up here. I used Substitute thinking that, like, Blissey makes the Substitute, then if Blissey swaps out, the Substitute would stay and maintain all of that stuff. But it didn't, so then Shoxy got confused. I think maybe if I used Baton Pass, maybe something like that would work, but the fight went way longer than it needed to, long story short. Fly was what ended up helping me get badge number 5. Loki, not really giving me any trouble again. I did have to play around his brick-breaking Heracross, but other than that, everything was going pretty well. Our crew of 6 went on to see Roark's dad, Byron, and I'm actually damn proud of this. So I was gonna lead with Bernard, who's an Infernape, so I can take out Bronzor. Then when Steelix comes in, Steelix will want to use Earthquake, So then I pivot to Gyarados. Then Steelix will try and Thunder Fang, so I can put in Gastrodon and then just surf my way to victory. I actually got an Intimidate on Steelix in the process. I went back to Gyarados, and then Byron used a full Restore, which I keep forgetting that trainers use liberally in this game. But I used Waterfall, got a flinch, basically hung on to the Waterfall strats, and ended up cruising past Byron, taking home badge number 6. Okay, it's been a hot minute since we checked on Team Galactic. I want to go look at how they almost inadvertently killed my run. Like, not with their Pokemon, but due to a technicality. So, Commander Saturn got swept pretty quickly by Bernard. There's a cameo by Bulgosi to handle the Toxicroak. Commander Mars, largely the same thing, except this time I mixed in some Sushiina. At least I had a Person Berry this time, but Golbat used Toxic. No, the problem was actually right here. Okay, remember that thing about level caps? Yeah, the cap for Candace is 42. And I have not even started the trek up to Snow Point City yet, much less the gym itself, which, because I suck at ice puzzles, is going to guarantee many encounters. So, did I just lose the run? Did I just lose all of my Pokemon for at least one gym because they're going to be too high level? Not exactly. So, when the main crew is busy, but there's still a job to be done, some say they lurk in, like, the break room because they don't really have their own office yet. No, I'm talking about the B team. Cloggin, Miles Per Hour, Volt Catfish, not a reference to anything, Afton, and Hitmonchan. Yeah, I spent way too long grinding up an entirely separate team of Pokemon so that I could get to Candace and then actually use my main team again. This was by far the stupidest I've ever felt doing a run of anything, and I used to have the world record for Elmo's letter adventure. They said the B team handled their business, and I was able to get the main characters back for the Candace fight. Plan for Candace, pretty simple, actually held up really well too. Use Bernard to take up the first 2 Pokemon, bait an Earthquake, switch to Fire Blast. Kinda stole the idea from Jaiden's Platinum Run. But everything went perfect until Blizzard froze Sushiina. I'm so glad it's holding a Person Berry. But that's on me because I should have known better and I should have been better prepared. In a pinch, I did remember the team member who hadn't gotten much play so far, and I called in Jersnoy. Now, Jersnoy took an Earthquake like a boss, flamethrowered the Obama Snow to hell, went to Acuity Lakefront, I caught a Snover, I named him Teton Tom, and I think I hate Teton Tom. Anyway, been a minute again since we checked on good old Team Galactic. Not much to say. I used Volt Switch to get around Cyrus's flying types. I was able to keep the upper hand. Literally just rolled Commander Saturn's team a few minutes ago, so same strategy pretty much applied there. I headed up to Spear Pillar, and my strategy for the Mars and Jupiter double battle was basically to either use moves that hit both of their Pokemon or kind of hit Loki's Pokemon too, and then just sort of swap my way to victory. Like, it helps that even with the level cap, you know, for the next gym leader, they're actually weaker than we are at this point. But if you liked Cyrus the first time, he's back again not like 30 minutes after the last fight. Pretty much the same, although he did manage to find a Gyarados. But my Gyarados at this point knew Avalanche, a move that I taught it thinking ahead to Cynthia's Garchomp. It's a move that does double damage when you go second, so I was like convinced that this is a good idea, and a couple of those I was fine. But the problem, yet again, my friends, is this. The level cap for Volkner is 49. All my Pokemon now are 48. If I give them the experience from beating Palkia, won't be able to use them for that fight. So, friends, who do you call when a legendary, dimension-altering super beast is rampaging through space and time? What if those guys are busy? That's right, you call the B team. And one Master Ball later, I was able to switch back to the main characters to go take on Volkner. I actually got my way through Volkner thanks to what I thought was my most 4D chess move yet. So, Volkner leads with a Raichu that knows Surf, because Surfing Pikachu is a thing. If I lead with Cloggin, the only move it can possibly use is Surf, and Surf would likely kill Golem. So, led with the Golem, switched to Tessie, got an amazing special attack boost, and now none of Raichu's moves can hit my active Pokemon. So, it actually ended up trying to Nuzzle, and that didn't work. I feel like if I had Choice Specs or Metronome, this could have gone even better. But yeah, again, I've lost one Pokemon to this point, so I thought everything was going amazing. There was a little hiccup in Octillery. That meant I had to get creative on Luxray, but then all 8 badges were ours. Now, the only thing standing between me and first time hardcore Nuzlocke greatness were 5 trainers and another Loki fight that was actually still pretty easy. But time for the rundown of the roster for the Elite Four. It is Jersnoy the Blissey, Sushiina the Gyarados, Tessie the Gastrodon, Belgolsi the Crobat, Shoxy the Luxray, and Teton Tom, the Abomasnow. The more I looked at this Elite Four, the more I thought I couldn't beat Bertha without Abomasnow, and the Blizzard and the Ice Strats were definitely going to help against Garchomp too, so I benched my starter in a move I would never make in vanilla games, but I tend to have some trouble when it comes to the vanilla game anyway. By the way, this is my box. I feel like there wasn't anything too incredible that I could have brought into the mix, maybe like Wish Cash or something like that, but if I was gonna do it, this was gonna be the crew I was gonna take with me. So here's the thing about this game, because it's been pretty easy up to this point, just required a lot of planning, you know? The Elite Four in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, for some reason, are supercharged. Like, Cynthia's Garchomp's level 66. We're gonna start the Elite Four at level 63, but they have, like, items that give them bonuses to attack, and then natures that negate the negative parts of those bonuses. It's so hard to explain, but they are, like, competitively viable. Now, if everything went perfect, here were my plans. And yeah, I got my notes pulled up here. Aaron, not too scary. I figure I can Choice Specs Flamethrower with Blissey. When Heracross comes out, switch to Crobat, dodge the Brick Break. Well, don't take much damage from the Brick Break, and then like Air Slash through that. Bertha, I was going to put the Metronome on Abomasnow. Hopefully Grass Knot would lead the way to victory. If Golem comes out third, hail damage will kill it when it tries to use Sturdy, so it seems pretty easy. Flint, I figure move the Choice Specs to Gastrodon, Metronome to Gyarados, Surf and Waterfall the way to a win. Lucian, however, seems really tough, mainly because a couple of the Pokemon know Trick Room, and that can switch up any plans to like go first. I guess I could give a Pokemon the Quick Claw to try and negate that, but I really don't. Sushiina with Crunch, I figure is gonna be fine, especially if I work Metronome in there and admittedly get a little bit lucky. Cynthia is going to require a lot of maneuvering. Dazzling Gleam, which is a Blissey move, can work on Spiritomb. Flamethrower can work on Roserade. Gastrodon, maybe if I flip to Gyarados or Abomasnow, I can kind of get around some of the things. Belgolsi, Sushiina, they can deal with Lucario. Shoxy, I think, is going to handle my Milotic and avoid Mirror Coat. And then whatever's left after that, I'm just going to throw it at Garchomp. I spent a long time prepping for this fight. I went and bought, I mean, first of all, I did level up Teton Tom like 30 levels. I went out and bought TMs of like every kind so that if I needed to switch moves or something in the middle of the Elite Four, I could do that. I went and got the Choice Specs, the Metronome, the Black Glasses. But somehow, in the middle of all of this, I forgot that Blissey and Gyarados had forgotten Ice Beam. I don't know what the hell I taught them, but I taught him something else. And the one TM I did not buy heading into this was Ice Beam. But I figure I've got a nice specialist on the team, so probably going to be good to go. Battle begins. Aaron win as well as possible. I was feeling on top of the world at this point, right? I mean, it didn't go perfectly according to plan because Heracross came in second, so Belgolsi kind of had to wipe a bunch of other Pokemon. But other than that, a win is a win. And now it's I keep wanting to say Abomasnow. It's Abomasnow's time to shine. I'm either going to be happy or I'm going to be pulling my Switch out of the drywall here. So Quagsire, one shot. Sorry to Mero. Sudowoodo, one shot. Whiscash. This is a problem because Whiscash has a Rindo Berry, and that's going to decrease the power of some grass moves. So Grass Knot won't exactly kill, but it used a weak Bulldoze, tried to lower my speed, missed a move. We're good. Golem comes out, and this is where I panicked a little bit. I switched to Gyarados because it had a berry that can weaken rock-type super effective moves. The move missed. The hail, though, stopped. So now I'm in this constant loop of I use Waterfall, Bertha heals, later on my Waterfall crits Hippowdon, and 2 members of the Elite Four are down. Okay, now I put the Metronome on Tessie. I put a Spiky Barb on Gyarados. I don't know, like, why the Spiky Barb? Well, because I realized that Infernape with the Focus Sash can survive on 1 HP, and I thought if something like that happens and then it hits me, the Spiky Barb would take it out. Tessie one-shot the Rapidash. Flint went into the high jump kicking Lopunny, so I switched to Bulgosi. Thought that would be the only Mon that could take the hit. Ended up taking it down after some cross poisons. Then the Steelix came out, and I always loved these moves. Like, I got the free switch to Tessie thanks to Thunderfang. Surf took that out, and then Drifblim baton passed to Infernape for no reason. Infernape took a Surf to the face. It used up the Focus Sash. Flint healed it up, so then Tessie one-shot it and took out the Drifblim as well. I cannot believe it. My first Nuzlocke, my first hardcore Nuzlocke, and I'm at the head of the Elite Four, still in really good shape. Still got all the Mons, healed them up. They've got a lot of PP on their moves. I put the Metronome on Luxray so it can do some crunching. I put the black glasses on Gyarados. Looking good heading into Lucian. Unfortunately, I couldn't take out Mr. Mime before it got up the defenses, but I was able to go back and forth and kind of stall Mr. Mime out a bit. Then I switched to Tessie because Reflect was up, but not Light Screen. So I thought special moves might be the way to go. Medicham came out, and I was kind of on the back foot here. I thought maybe Jersnoy was tough enough to survive the high jump kick, and it did, but only because of the power of friendship. I used a Dazzling Gleam, hoping it would kill. It didn't, but then Blissey avoided a Zen Headbutt and stayed in the game using another Dazzling Gleam, put it out of commission. Alakazam came in, and then I panicked. I put Teton Tom in, hoping he could at least live long enough to maybe freeze Alakazam. Blizzard, because Blizzard's a strong move, so I'm like, if Blizzard hits, I'll be good to go. Blizzard connected, didn't kill though, and now Teton Tom is dead. So the only answer at this point seemed like the Gyarados connecting on Crunch and maybe getting out, maybe outspeeding Alakazam. They're both really fast. It didn't outspeed, but the power of friendship came through again, and it lived on 1 HP. The Crunch killed Alakazam. I was on cloud 9 until I realized this. Teton Tom just killed Tsushima. But I had to press on. I knew Girafarig was going to set up Trick Room, so I crunched, hoping for a crit. Didn't get one. Managed to survive the Psychic on 2 HP. Crunched again. Took out Lucian, and I had defeated the Elite Four in a hardcore Nuzlocke of Shining Pearl. In the moment, though, the victory felt really hollow because at this point, I had like no plan. I barely had a good Cynthia plan to begin with. Now I'm down my best Mon and my Ice Mon, and I just gotta hope, right? I don't really know what I'm hoping for. I just did my Scraggy impression, you know? I pulled up my britches, I stormed in, I tried to battle Cynthia. Who knows, right? Well, I followed my plan. I Dazzling Gleam and Soft-Boiled on the Spiritomb, but when pressure set in, I ran out of PP for Dazzling Gleam. I ended up taking out Spiritomb with Flamethrower. Lucario came in, I switched to Bulgosi to avoid the Aura Sphere. Lucario buffed itself, I was unable to take it down with an Air Cutter, but the power of friendship again, Bulgosi survived a Flash Cannon on 1 HP. It ate the Citrus Berry, got some health back, and if only it had a priority move, I could have taken out the Lucario. But I didn't, so I switched to Tessie to try and live through the Flash Cannon, but then there was an Aura Sphere the next turn, and that kind of took it down. So I was running out of options. I threw Bulgosi out there again to try and do anything. It got Flash Cannoned, but it survived on 1 HP thanks to the power of friendship. My Lodic came out. I immediately got out of there. U-turned into Shoxy, hoped to take it out with electric attacks, but then Cynthia withdrew the Milotic, sent in Gastrodon. I tried switching to Chansey. I thought maybe I could burn it or something, but ultimately it didn't matter. I was in a loop of Gastrodon using moves, and then me having to soft boil to heal up, not really doing any damage. Everything was kind of a move away from death. So after all of that, this is where the run ended. I didn't want to give up on the run entirely, so like I thought about the idea of saying, okay, maybe it's a mostly hardcore Nuzlocke, right? Maybe I use items just to see what happens, and I'm gonna give you the TLDR. The fight went on for another 50 minutes after this point. Gastrodon and Milotic both ran out of moves, which really confuses the AI. I was able to take both of them down. I had burned Roserade, and then the Garchomp came in, and it Swords Danced, and at that point, it was all over. My first Nuzlocke, which was also my first hardcore Nuzlocke, ended up wiping out at Cynthia. I debated, like, not putting this video out at all, but I learned a lot in this run. It was an incredible journey. There's so much stress that goes into these, you know, like trying to plan out the right paths and different things for the different trainers. I definitely want to do more. I want to know what you think. Would you check out some more hardcore runs if I do them? Hopefully they'll go better than this. Do you think maybe I should just stick to a regular Nuzlocke at this point? I think I'm going to do probably Fire Red and Leaf Green at this point. This was a blast. I had to take so many notes to make this video. It's so unlike what I normally do. But let me know what you thought. I would love to know if you watched this whole thing, if you went on this journey, if you dug it. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton. And I'm just looking forward to what's next. So with that, my friends, take care. And you know there is going to be a salty run back.